Welcome to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Brian Allen, he is the CSO of Epiphany AI.com is the website. Epiphany is the company. AI, of course, yes, for artificial intelligence, and he is the man when it comes to that. Love what you do. You know, there's always a lot of interest whenever we promote your content and talk about your content on our social media, which, every interview we do, we promote on there. And I think a lot of the reason why is because what you do is both aspirational and inspirational, and also practical. You know, you bring stuff to people right where they are. You know, and I think you're kind of like a pioneer in even the current movement towards the democratization of media, which we've talked about a lot, and making it more accessible. But you know, that's my layman's spin on what you do. I always get excited having you on. But go into a little more depth about what you guys are all about, and then kind of lay the stage, if you will, for our topic today.
Sure. So my company is founded and focused on cleaning up the muck in the advertising and media industry. So a lot of focus has been put on fraud in advertising in the media. And I look at fraud a little differently than most people, I think, because I see it from the inside. And we classify it, I guess, like you would classify birds. You've got lots of different types of invalid traffic. Some of that's fraud, some of that's not fraud, but what we're focused on really is eliminating invalid traffic from the ecosystem so the ecosystem can function better. We're doing that with large partners like Google and Verizon and Amazon, and looking at the inner core of the network. I kind of joke with people sometimes and say it's like sitting and looking at the Matrix all day long. But it really is.
Yep.
It's just a ton of data flowing through that we're scanning, interpreting, and then putting a value on. And that kind of comes back to, you know, the topic of today, the power of voice. And you think of the power of voice in lots of different areas. Where I'm thinking of the power of voice is in advertising at this point, and the value of a person's voice. So as we start to dive into Alexa and Google and a lot of the other mechanisms that are allowing our voice to purchase things, to enable things, to verify passcodes, to operate. Basically, everything that we do in our daily life will come down to hands-free at some point. So today, this year, we're starting to look at advertising changing, where we have agencies that are taking on clients. And, you know, an agency of record is a pretty important thing. That tells everybody, you know, who you work with. Like Walmart has an agency of record, and Ford has an agency of record. These guys are starting to look at their agencies a little differently. But this past month, the 30th of January, an agency and J.P. Morgan Chase got together. So they became J.P. Morgan Chase's agency of choice for voice. That just threw up a bunch of flags for me. When we look at voice as a transaction, I think about my voice and being able to use it for like I said, passcodes and activations and verifications. So we're moving away from where I think fingerprints were, a few years ago, into the capacity of voice to do everything that we're doing, because your voice is a fingerprint. And your voice is a unique fingerprint, though, because your voice has multiple characteristics to it that can be attributed, right? Like, if you're happy, your voice has a certain tone to it. If you're stressed, your voice has a certain tone to it. So aligning not just your voice and your vocal pattern, but the tones inside of your voice to verify whether you're stressed while you're asking for your bank account to be opened is a significant feature that I think we're just starting to see developed at this point, but we'll see activated across everything we do.